Now, would you please lie on your stomach? If you like on your stomach, you'll find it easier, more convenient to turn with your head towards me. You will hear better than the other way around. Now, you see, we are going to work the extensors. It means all the anti-gravity muscles, those muscles that erect the body, that open the articulations. Would you please put both hands in front of your head, or so that you can put your head on it, a cheek on the... So, that's right. Say, to make it uniform, put your right hand over your left hand and put your left cheek on the back of your right hand. And now very slowly lift the head. You can lift it with the hand only. With the right hand only, lift the hand to push the cheek, to lift the head, and put it back, and do that many times. Observe only, while you do that, which part of the body is leaning on the floor more than before when you do that. The right side or the left side, and which part of the body? Part of the body is leaning. Now also, can you say what limits the movement? Why doesn't it go higher? Don't try to go higher. Just see what dictated the position of the head, the limit of how far it will go. Now, slowly try to lift like that the head, but lift also the elbow. Can you see them? That's right. Slowly, but it lifts much higher. Slowly, lift much higher. Now note, when you do that, you find that you mobilize your legs and the floor, and they creep on the floor. Yeah. Is it really necessary? Some of it certainly is. Because even when you think you can lift the head without moving the legs, you still move one of the legs more than the other. Can you feel which leg creeps on the floor more when you do that? All right, now stop it. Just put the forehead on your hands. And now lift your eyes a little bit. Just lift your head and eyes and have a look in front of you and lift the head and see and make yourself a mark on the wall, on anything. You say, I saw up to there. Lift your head and eyes without straining and say, I saw up to the middle of the blackboard or to the top of the blackboard. It doesn't matter. Everyone, of course the people from far away see higher, but it's still the question of relative improvement of each one. So now put on your head again with your left here on your head and lift the head with your right hand with the elbow together. And when you lift it, move it, slide both the hand and the head right and left. Slide right and left. Don't turn the head, just slide. In general mechanics, in theoretical mechanics, you call it translate the head and the body. A translation is a movement which is parallel to where it is. A rotation, it is not parallel, of course. It's round the center. So that's a translation. But it's sliding, guiding, move right and left without turning. That's it. Now stop it, rest a little. Observe only whether when you stop, you breathe easier. If you do, then it means that when you lift, you don't breathe properly. Now lift the head so that you can keep on breathing. Try again. Lift it with the hand, but lift it to the point where you feel that does not interfere with my breathing. That's right. And now put your forehead on the hands, and just lift the forehead and have a look whether you can see a little bit higher than before. Naturally, without doing anything, with the same effort, thinking I lift it only as far as it is easy to do, you'll find that you will see a little bit higher than before. No, not the hands leave on the floor. Right, now put your left hand over the right. Put your right cheek over your hands. And now very slowly lift this side with your left hand and elbow several times. Easy. Only observe what does your body do on the floor, which parts change the position, the pressure. That's right. And now put your forehead on the hands again, and with the same ease, not making any bigger effort, just lift your head and the eyes and look and see whether you see a little bit higher than before. Now, would you please lift your head easily, not very far, not very high, and close your eyes. And now, when you move your head downwards to put it back on with the forehead, and then lift it again. And while you do that, think that you're going to look to see your chest when you lift your head with closed eyes. You're going to see your chest when you lift your eyes. And when you put the forehead on your hands, you're trying to see the forehead. So you move your eyes in a funny way. When you lift your head, you look at your chest. When you lower your head, you look at your forehead with closed eyes, so you don't look anyway. You just do that. You do about 4 or 5 movements like that, but make sure that your intention to see the chest when you lift your head, and when you lower the head to see your forehead. And now put your forehead on your hands. And of course this time open your eyes, lift your head and have a look whether you can see a little higher than before. With the same effort, making no greater effort, the eyes go a little higher than before. Stay a little, rest a little, like that. Stay with your head wherever you like, rest on your stomach like that. Now, put your right hand over the left, put your left cheek on top of the right hand. And now very slowly, bend your left leg at the knee. That's right. And while it's like that up in the air, flex and extend your foot. Flex and extend your foot many times. Now you make the first movements, the biggest movements you can do, biggest flexion, biggest that, without strain, but though. And now gradually decrease the amplitude, means flex less, extend less, until you find the point where it is the middle actually, neither flexion nor extension. Then it is approximately like in standing. The foot is at right angles to the leg. When you stand, the foot is at right angles to the leg. While you lie like that, many people raise the foot with the toes much higher than the foot is normally. And now lift the left knee off the floor several times. But while you do that, several times, many times, slowly, observe only where do you put more pressure on the floor in your body, and which elbow moves forward more than the other, or gets lighter on the floor. That's right. Now stretch that leg out and lift it a bit straighter than before. Lift it like that. Yeah. You may bend it a bit. It's not so question of having it straight, but having it a little heavier. Observe now. Can you tell which elbow is moved forward more than the other, or get lighter on the floor? And now, keep on lifting the leg like that, and lift the head and the right elbow, lift the two together simultaneously, and observe whether you lift the head higher. No, you must help with the hand on your cheek. Now on the left, you're looking to the right, and with the other hand, the right hand, that's right. Lift. That's right. Lift several times. That's right. And now do the same thing with the other leg. The same thing, without the leg. Without the leg. Not without the leg, without. Without the leg. Observe only whether you lift your head higher than before. You can see the leg helps to lift the head. And once we become aware that we can actually lift the head by doing something in the back, we can do it without the leg. That's all right. Rest a little. Observe only what change occurs in the body while it lies like that. Now put your left hand over the right. Turn your right cheek to the hands, like that. And now bend the right knee, and again flex and extend the foot until you find the means of having the foot not extending and not flexing. That means you gradually decrease the amplitude until you find the place where it's neither extended nor flexed. And now lift the right knee like that off the floor. Many times, slowly, little bit by bit. Bit by bit. It's not essential to make a big effort. It will be only painful in the back to some. Slowly, if you keep on doing it, it will lift higher by itself. Observe only whether you breathe and bend your knee and lift it. Now see which elbow moves now forward when you lift, or backwards, or what does it do? Which elbow becomes lighter on the floor? One presses less when you lift the leg. Now stretch the leg and lift the leg straighter than before, or lift again, many times. And now with each lifting, lift the head with your left hand and elbow together simultaneously. Lift the head and the leg. Observe at which point do you lean on the floor. Which point leans on the floor when you do that? Because some parts of the body lift off the floor and only some parts remain on the floor. And on those, of course, there is bigger pressure. All right, lie like that, lift the head now with your left hand and see whether you lift it higher than before, like that. And now once more, close your eyes and put your forehead on the floor. And this time with open eyes, lift your head, and while you lift your head, you look at your chest. And then lower your head and look at your forehead with open eyes this time. Lowering while lifting the eyes to the forehead, lifting while lowering the eyes down to the floor, to the chest. And of course, don't contract your brows. It's not important. It's not forcing you to do it. You can smile when you do it. You can think that it's not so serious anyway. And the question is learning to do something which should be fun and no real hard work. But it's work, it's not learning. You don't learn anything. You force yourself to do something. It should become easier, simpler to do, and not that you make a bigger effort. Therefore, the seriousness should not be expressed in the tightness of the mouth, in the halting of the breath, in the stiffening of things that should be left alone. Can you feel that you do it regularly now, that the eyes go down when the head is lifted? Because with some, they believe they do it and they don't. Go down and look at your forehead. Lift your eyes to see your forehead. And when you lift your head, look to see your chest. Now stop it. Put your forehead on your arms, on your head. Lift your head and have a look and see whether you can see a little higher than before. With no hands this time. It's checking how much. See, just lift your eyes and see whether you can see a little higher than before. Now lie on your back and rest a little. But while you lie on your back, note that the small of the back touches less well than at the end of last lesson. You see, that's where it comes in, where our posture gets spoiled because of hard work, or work which we don't understand what you're doing. See, the back muscles work hard, therefore they remain contracted and we don't realize. And that's how we spoil our posture, because we are not aware of what happens. And then without knowing, we believe that we are like before. But in fact, the muscles that work are not the same, and they have got the same sensitivity and don't contract the same way. You want to see now? Bend your knees. Interlace your fingers behind your head. Slowly lift the head a few times. That's right. And then, of course, your legs, feet are spread and not held together. The feet, and therefore the knees are also spread. And now lift both knees off the floor, both feet off the floor, together with the head. And you remember the other day, we could touch so easily. You will see now, at this moment, it's difficult. You know why? Because last time we worked with the flexors until the extensors let go. Now the extensors are worked. Can you see? It's harder to do than last time, than you normally do, not only after the lesson. All right, stop it, put your hand there, see how the small of the back lies now. Because we work the flexors, the extensors are a bit longer, and therefore the small of the back sank a little bit better. Lies better than a minute ago. lie on your stomach again. This time put your left hand over the right and put your left cheek on the left hand. And now very slowly lift the head with your left hand and left elbow. It's much more difficult than before. It's more difficult than before, very slowly. Don't push hard. Don't lift hard. Lift as easily as you can, and the rest leave to the technique, to the lesson, to improve your back and everything. Slowly. And now lift your hand like that with the hand and translate the head and the arm left and right, or glide it left and right. Observe only what happens in the back, how the weight shifts in the pelvis on the floor. And if you open your legs, it will be easier to do. If you open your legs, spread your legs, it will be easier to do because the balance is kept. Otherwise you have to keep the balance while you move. But if you spread too much, it's also difficult. Must be spread normally. It means something like the width of your own body. That's enough. Now put your right hand over the left, turn your head the other way so that the right ear is there, and now slowly lift the head with your right hand. That's right, many times, easily, effortlessly, just lift slowly. Note whether you hold your breath with your love. Now, observe, you know what the belly, below the navel, the lower part of the abdomen, press it against the floor while you lift your head, and you will see it lifts higher. Press the lower part of your abdomen below the navel, press it to the floor. Push it out like a pregnant woman, and you will find your head lifting higher. Now change over the hands, put the left hand over the right, the head the same way, and lift, and you will see with the abdomen pushed forward. See how much higher that lifts now. And how much easier it is to do than the other side. Now turn your head the other way and lift the head with your left hand and left elbow. Again, feel, push the lower abdomen down. Make your legs limp. Slowly, gradually. Right, that's enough. Put your forehead on your hands and think of pressing your abdomen down to the floor, and then lift your head and have a look. Maybe you can see a little bit higher than before. Can you? You can see a lot higher. Now lie on your back and rest a little. And observe them again. Now you'll see the small of the back is again high. Bend your knees. Interlace your fingers behind the head in the non-habitual way. Lift the head and lift your feet. And some people cannot do it unless they are reminded. The feet and the knees spread shoulder width or pelvis width. Or yours are together, held as tightly together as possible. Anybody who can feel his knees touching and his big toes touching, he has not spread his legs. Or she, which is the same thing. It's still not spread. If the knees touch, bend your knees. Interlace your fingers behind the head in the non-habitual way. Lift the head and lift your feet. And some people cannot do it unless they are reminded. The feet and the knees spread shoulder width or pelvis width. Or yours are together, held as tightly together as possible. Anybody who can feel his knees touching and his big toes touching, he has not spread his legs. Or she, which is the same thing. It's still not spread if the knees touch and the toes touch. Now, lift like that and stay like that. And now, very slowly, very little movement, roll a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. And if you spread your knees, open your knees as wide as you can, you will find the movement getting simpler and easier, and you won't fall. Right and left with open knees. Knees widely spread. Now observe, you can move the head first and the pelvis later. Try the head first and the pelvis later. And you can move the pelvis first and the head later, which is the same thing. and then you can move them together. But then when you move them together, what do you start with? Try to sense. You start with the head. How do you start a movement? Where do you start a movement? With the pelvis over the head. All right, now stop it, rest a minute. See again how the floor always itself out to your small of the back, it gets better. Observe the chest, the shoulder blades, and behind your knees. Can you feel that some have behind the knees sunk to the floor more than before? And then roll on your side and again onto your stomach. And this time put both hands in front of you, in front of the forehead. And very slowly bend both knees and lift both knees off the floor. Slowly. A small amount, don't press hard. Some of you can do it easily, but some can't. Lift and let go, lift and let go. But knees spread many times. Just lift slowly. Observe that in order to lift the knees easily, too, you have to press your lower abdomen to the floor. If you press your lower abdomen, the knees lift. Observe also that when you lift your knees, something happens to the elbows. Now, while you lift your knees like that, lift your elbows off the floor. The elbows, not the head. No, the head. Why did you change? Lift your elbows. That's all. Lift your elbows and lift your knees. Lift your elbows and lift your knees. Why do the elbows lift so little? Is there rust in the wrists? Or in the shoulders? Or in the brain? Where's the rust? Lift your elbows, not the head, not the hands, the elbows. The head lies on the floor, the wrists on the floor, the hands on the floor. Bend the wrist. Lift the elbows. Lift them more and more. Leave the legs alone. Just lift the right elbow while the head looks to the right. Lift the right elbow. Can you see? You can lift the elbow so much. Why couldn't you before? The forehead is on the arms, on the hands. The head, the left cheek, the left temple is on there. Now, do that again. Lift the right elbow. Now, bend the left knee and lift the left knee while you do that. Both together. Lift both together, not one apart. Lift both together. Does it lift better, easier? Lift the elbow and the head. and the knee. Hey, looks like as if something is happening. Elbow, the head, and the knee. All right? Elbow, head, and the knee. The head too. Lift the head with your hand. Your right hand on top, of course. The right hand on top, lifting the head, lifting the shoulder, lift the head with the hand. Now again, put the hand on the hand, lift the elbow along. And see how much it lifts. Now turn your head the other way. Put your left hand over the right. Now lift the left elbow. Look, with some that one lifts more than the right one, with some less. No, your head lies on the hands and you look to your left and lift the elbow only. That's right. Now lift both elbows. Is it better than before or not? Now while you're like that, put your forehead on the elbows, on the hands. Now bend your knees. And now push your lower abdomen to the floor and lift the head and have a look. Maybe you see a little bit higher than before. Some of you see miles higher than before, but some are not yet there. All right. Now stretch out the legs and lift them straight and see whether you see higher. All right, stay like that, rest a little. Put your forehead on your hands, your forehead on the hands. Lift the head with both elbows and the head. Both elbows and the head. Lift. But don't press hard. Lift and go down. Lift and go on a few times. Push with your hands the forehead. But don't push hard. Lift only what is easy to do. That's right. Note whether the legs mobilize themselves spontaneously. Now slowly lift the legs together with the head. Only a few times, it's difficult. Once, two, three, and if you can, a fourth time, and stop it. Stop it. That's enough. Just lift your head and have a look whether you can see a little bit higher than before. Now lie on your back and rest a little. Again. Again, bend your knees. Get hold with the right hand below the patella, the left hand below the patella, both knees from the sides like that. Get hold of the knees. Spread them, spread them, spread them. Lift your head. and rock your body like that, forward and backwards. Rock the head too, the whole body. The knees pull the arms, let them pull. When the knees go down, and pull the arms, let the arms go down, until you can actually come, rock like that until the feet comes to the floor and you roll back. That's right. That's enough. Lie on your back and rest a little. Lie on your stomach again. And this time put both hands like for pushing up on either side of the shoulders. Like that, yeah. And now lift your head like that, as it is. Lift your head. Have a look. Don't push with your hands, you just keep them like that. No, the elbow, you can't push up with the elbows lying on the floor. When you push up, your elbows are on the air. And look, that's not, you can't push up like that. Your elbow, that's right. Neither can you. Nobody can push up with his elbows on his hand, on the floor. Right. Take the elbows, the hands near to your shoulders so that the elbows can be in the air and that you could actually lift your body like that. Now, lift your head like that slowly. Put it with your right cheek on the floor. Put it with the right cheek on the floor. Then lift the body and put it with the left cheek on the floor. That's right, several times. Now, bend your legs, bend your knees, spread them, spread them, spread them. Press your lower abdomen down to the floor, lift your head, and see whether you can see a little bit higher than before. Now while you are like that with your knees bent, turn your head over your right shoulder to see the right heel. Lift your head, and use your hands and lift your eyes over your shoulder, and therefore you observe what the arms do. One does something different from the other. One shoulder does something different from the other. Lift your eyes to see over your right shoulder the right heel. And do that several times. In your hands, if you don't, any movement should be an organic movement. It's you who do it. Therefore, the head should help the hand, and the hand should help the knee, and the knee should help the mouth, and the mouth should help the back. Everything should help one another, and not leave the hand dead on the floor. Slowly look at your right heel with both elbows in the air. Only one lowers by itself and the other one goes up, whether you want it or not. That's right. Look, the knees are bent. Look at it. That's right. Now, stop that a minute. Put your hands normally, put your head there, rest a while. And again, put your hands on either side as for pushing up. And then bend your legs and bend your knees. And now look over your left shoulder to see the left heel. And down again. And look at your left heel over your left shoulder, using both over the shoulder, not under the shoulder. Over the shoulder, above your shoulder. That's right. And now look once to the left and once to the right. And observe what you do with your arms and with your pressure on the floor. You see, when you turn right, where is the maximum pressure on the floor? When you turn left, where is the maximum pressure? Now keep on doing that. Slowly, not hard, not high, just do it. That's right. Now, straighten your legs, lift your head and like it is like that, and the legs, lift everything and have a look how far you can see like that, how high. Both legs straight, that's right, have a look. And now see, leave the legs alone and look without the legs, if you can't do the same thing without the legs. Obviously. You're seeing miles over. Yeah. All right? Slowly. Now, put both hands behind your back, the back, that's right. Put the backs of the hands on your back. The backs of the hands, not the palms, back of the hands. But simply put both hands like that. And now think of sliding your hands a little bit near to your head. Both hands separately, lying on their backs, with the fingers downwards toward your legs. Now, slide a little bit up to your head, and then downwards toward the bottom. Push down like that, and lift both shoulders off the floor. That's right, push down. Many times. Not powerfully. Observe that your head lifts anyway when you do that. So now, while you do that, lift your head and see whether you can see higher than before. Pressing with your hands down like that. And of course you can. So now you should be able to do the same thing without the hands because we learn so quickly. Now, don't use your hands, put them on either side of the floor, and lift your head and see whether you can't see the same thing without the head, without the hand sliding. Now, with your hands backward like that, lift your legs and see how far you can see. Press your lower abdomen down, the hands on either side on the floor. Now lift your head and see. Now put both hands on the floor like for pushing up. Bend your knees and have a look once at the right and once at the left and see whether it's easier to do. Now, would you please lie down simply like that? Put your right hand over the left. Put your left cheek on that. Just lift your head and see why was it so difficult at the beginning. Have a look. Lift your head. With your hand, of course. Lift it and see. Can you remember I asked you what limits the amount you lift? Now, can you see how much you lift now? Remember how much you lifted at the beginning? Now, put the left hand over the right, change the direction of the head, lift this one. Obviously, it's the same thing. Now, last time, put both hands or either hand on either side of the shoulder for pushing up. Just lift and see where you can reach with your eyes now. And remember, where did you start? When we started, you made a sign. Where is it? Now go to the side where it was before, where you started with, and see, have a look. What limited your ability to lift the eyes? Why was it only so low? Where? What happened? Huh? Now, try also, put one hand on the other and the forehead on the hands and lift the forehead like that. Lift with the hands, lift your body, lift the head, and lift the legs. And now have a look as high as you can, take the head off the head and have a look at that. Stop it. And now look again without any restriction. Now I want to remove the tension in the back, but I want to get up, walk around and see what it feels like after that. Get up, walk and see whether you stand smaller, whether you feel heavier, whether you feel lighter, whatever you feel, whether the legs are heavy. Walk around and see. Walk and sense, appreciate your feeling. How is the pelvis? How is the head? How is the breathing? How are the legs? Now, one last bit. If you go like that, the back muscles will be strained uselessly. Now, you'll see the difference. Lie on your back again. And you have seen, do any of the flexor movements that we did. That means bend your knees, tight. Lift the head, take the legs or the head and lift the head and the legs, or hold the legs, any one which you prefers, and rock yourself like that. And also left and right, left and right. It's only necessary a few movements. Open your knees. And now get up and see the difference of those two movements, how the back muscles have changed and the walking is quite different. Can you feel that there's less strain in the back? The head is carried more forward than before. Everything is easier, simpler. All right, thank you very much.